Welcome to Comfort Havoc number 2. About to go Instagram and live this shit. So before I do, make sure I'm in somewhat adequate range. Alright. So while we're searching for a connection on Instagram, I'm going to, do the hands tied thing. And I'm going to use the commas as tonfas and as commas to practice commas so nobody's getting hurt. And I'm also here by myself. I am drawing the cleaning rags that I have to do every week. While I'm searching for my acting career, I still have a real job. So I have to fulfill the obligations of that job. All right, not relevant. So what we're going to do is, first off, we're going to understand it. This rope tied together, belt buckle. Yeah, don't do that. This has a lot of significance in training. I have been training with this belt in my hand, not this exact belt, with my hands bound since I was 12 years old. The whole purpose of that training was you never know what kind of situation you were going to be in, and being a person of color, I was afraid that I would stumble into shit that I could never get out of. All right? So, first and foremost, it's always easier to fight with your hands tied in front versus your hands tied in the back. The reason why I'm doing this, and have done this many a times before on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, I'm actually recording my Kung Fu Havoc number 2 tonight, right now as we speak. The reason why I'm doing this is really quite simple. You need to understand that you can do this if you are properly trained. If you are not properly trained, I do not advise you to do this. That's the small disclaimer, because you can't get hurt. I often tell you what you can and cannot do, what you should and should not do, and I hope that you are paying attention when I say this shit. Okay? And the reason for that is really quite simple. You can't always believe everything you see on TV. Fights don't always work like they do on TV. UFC fights, they're real fights, but they are sanctioned, they are conditioned, and 9 times out of 10, everybody thinks they're a UFC fighter until they get their ass kicked. All right? Now, that does not include actual UFC fighters. However, I'm sure that they do not train with their hands tied behind their back. That's probably something that professional wrestlers would probably do, and wrestling is a martial art. Don't get it twisted. The reason why I tell you the do's and don'ts is so that you don't get hurt, especially if you go out and you attempt, please do not, but you attempt to do some shit that you've seen me do. Mind you, for the last time, I have been doing martial arts since I was 7 years old. I have been street fighting since I was 6 years old. Now, we got all that bullshit out the way. Here's the point. If your hands are ever tied, you're going to need to know how to fight. Pure and simple. Now, a lot of people are doing these escape shits. I ain't got time to teach you that because I don't know that. Alright? But what I do know is what I can teach you. And I can teach you the do's and don'ts of fighting with your hands tied in front and behind your back. Now, it is more difficult to block with this shit behind your back. So we're going to do behind your back shit first because it's more difficult. There are a lot of things you are not going to see me do with my hands behind my back. This would be one, because it's going to throw off your balance. And I don't have any balance anymore because of my hips. I have to be exceptionally careful. You are also not going to see this because it throws off your balance. And also on any given Sunday on a fight, if you do that tornado kick and you miss, or that hurricane kick if you are a Kempo student, you are going to get hurt. If someone sidesteps that kick or somebody goes under that kick, if you are a male, your testicles, they're fruit for the picking. Try to remember that you are subject to pain and suffering in a fight regardless. Getting hit in the face sucks. Getting hit anywhere sucks. Anybody who doesn't tell you that should probably not be teaching you a martial art. Okay? I don't know what the hell just happened with my Kung Fu Havoc number 2. I hope it's still recording because I'm not going to stop. But it did just glitch. So, we'll find out when I watch it later. We're going to go behind the back. I want you to understand something. These blocks in the front will come easy. Blocks in the back, not so easy. So a lot of the blocks that you're going to have to rely on when your hands are tied behind your back are going to have to come from Thai fighting or American kickboxing. All right? For those who do not know what Thai fighting is, this is your starting point for Thai fighting. This is your starting point for American kickboxing. Got the difference? Thai fighters generally come up here. It also depends on the Thai fighter because sometimes it's open hands, sometimes it's closed, but most of the time it's up here. American kickboxer, you're going to take a boxing stance and you're going to do the same shit. Only Thai fighters are here, American kickboxing here. So be forewarned, if you can recognize the style, you should be able to hang with that style. And so you can either beat it or be beaten by it. Understand that shit. Because anything that you don't know can hurt you. Regardless of what everybody says, oh, what he doesn't know can't hurt him. That's bullshit. What you don't know not only can hurt you, it can probably kill you. So you need to be forewarned about that. I have studied many of multiple martial arts. The problem is, no one's ever given me a chance to become famous, like all the people you're following right now. So I'm going to tell you the truth about the shit. A lot of kickboxers will do this as a setup, and they will elbow the shit out of you. Same thing with Thai fighters. They'll boom. But a Thai fighter's going to bring a knee right after. American kickboxers don't really have that kind of skill set. But Thai fighters, they do this shit for 8 hours a day. American kickboxers, we're soft, all right? I said it, we're soft. We're going to, boom, we're going to step back and we're going to reevaluate if we get the chance to step back. You got to know who you're fighting. You got to recognize that style, or you're going to recognize sleep. So let's do this. With your hands behind your back, you're limited to your flexibility. This is mine. So if you're throwing a kick over here and I block it this way, I may have saved myself for a split second. Hold on, my nose is running. Or itching, or both. Same thing over here. My flexibility is going to be the deciding factor if I'm going to block this shit, absorb this shit, or go to fuck to sleep. Don't forget that ducking is always a possibility depending on what kick they are throwing, as yes, I dig this wedgie out of my rear. So, your do kicks. All right, your do kicks are always basic. They are always simple, and you need to remember this shit. You want to know where your door is. If you're in this building, my door's over there. So for this scenario, ignore the fact that the door's over there. There's a door behind me. Ignore that, because this is going to be the most realistic training that I can give you versus what I do outside. Okay, so I want my door to be over there. I do not want to kick my opponent in that direction. So I do not want to use an inside to outside crescent kick, because then I'm going to have to engage this bastard and he's in front of my door. You don't want that. And if he's over there, you definitely don't want that. You want to use an outside to inside crescent kick, so when he's coming, boom, it's going to send him in this direction, which gives you the option to go in this direction. Do not engage this person if you are not skilled with the hands, especially if your hands are tied behind your back, which limits your means of escape. Again, flexibility. You're going to have to be able to reach that doorknob. I'm short. I have to be able to reach that fucking doorknob. I'm 5'3.5". That half inch ain't going to make a fuck if I can't reach that doorknob, which means I'm probably going to have to engage. And my time engaging, the main thing I need to do is figure out how the hell I'm going to get my hands free. So again, this is a block. This is a block. If those blocks are not effective, you need to learn how to block with knees. So if they're throwing a kick, boom. They're throwing a kick from this side, boom. You want to be able to block with them in case your hands can't do the job that it's supposed to do. Now, if you want to try and do a double, boom. You still see my limitations of how far this rope and my flexibility goes. So here, here. That's it. Let's not forget the fact that I had a hip replacement, so my limberness is not like it used to be either. It's not about me being 48. It's just about the body not working well with the mind anymore. Now, same concept if the guy's over there and the door is over there, then you want to do the inside to outside crescent kick because you knock him away from the door. So my door's over here, he's coming, boom. I do not have to engage. I sent him in that direction. I can go in this direction of the door. The reason why I insisted you go to the door, is it really that obvious? And yes, that's America's ass. Anyway, when your hands are like this, and you're limited to your blocks, you need to escape. Now, another simple kick, basic front kick. He's in front of you. You know, this is going to at least slow him down. And I pray that you have enough balance and enough weight so that you don't fall on your back. So, he's coming at you. Boom, simple front kick. Both feet can do it. Boom. You need to know your balance. High front kick or an axe kick, as depending on who's teaching you what. Those are simple. On your axe kick, you can kick him going up and coming down. So if he was like in front of you and you kick up, you catch him going up and you catch him going down. If you know how to do the perfect axe kick. That's for you Taekwondo motherfuckers. You guys know exactly the kick I'm talking about. Especially you ones that can hold that shit way up there. Yeah, that kick. The question is, how much power can you put behind that before he takes your ass out? I understand some kicks are effective and some kicks are not. Fancy kicks are effective if they connect. Fancy kicks are not effective if they do not. They also can put your ass in the hospital if your fucking hands are tied behind your back. Keep that shit in mind. Alright? Your blocks are limited, but your ability to escape should not be. Guys coming at you and you stand this way. For Taekwondo, when you chamber your side kick, because that brings in the power, where you may not have time to chamber it. So step in. Boom. From the side, in case you guys missed it, we're going to Taekwondo first. Chamber. Boom. Now if you don't have time for that, step over. Boom. Try not to cross your feet too much because you can trip over your feet. So if you have to trip, like step backwards, you want to get it far enough to where it's a good distance between your feet, because if you don't, you clip yourself and you don't get that kick, and you might get hit in the face. Or when you get hit in the face, you're going to go to sleep. Also, very important thing you need to know. I should have said this at the beginning, and I'm sorry. When you get hit and you can't catch yourself on the way down, you're in deep shit. I couldn't tell you how to break fall with your hands tied behind your back. Nature's going to take its course, and you're probably going to get hurt. So if I get hit and I go down, if I don't go down to where like my knees or something can slow down my fall, I'm probably going to sleep. Not from the hit, but probably from my head hitting the concrete, the asphalt, the ground, wherever the hell the situation lies. And you have to know that shit going in. You need to know that shit because your hands are tied. You're limited. If I get down, I can't get back up. Yeah, so if I don't fall properly, I'm going to get fucked up. Now let's hope I can get back up. Ah, damn it. Old age. Getting up with your hands tied is not going to be fun either. That's why I did that. Falling and getting up is very important. You're going to need to know how to do that. It is not going to be an easy task because your hands are tied. You fall wrong, you break an arm. You fall right, you can still break an arm. Doesn't matter if you fall. If you get knocked down, you can break an arm. You can break an arm if you don't get knocked down, if you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So again, do not attempt this shit that you see me doing. Now, the other things, the kicks that I specifically did, front kick, front push kick, gung fu kick low, because then you can do it like a low and then high, boom, boom, yeah, you can do that. Or you can just go high and then low, so for that. But, you can't really waste too much time when your hands are tied up behind you. Behind you is not a safe bet. I promise you, this is not a safe bet at all. Even training with this shit, it is not a safe bet. I do not have a crash pad. I do not have a box or anything that I can land on so that I don't fuck myself up. Which is why, again, I state this, please do not attempt this shit at home. Now, let's say you have to do sequences with your hands behind your back. It's going to look fucked up. I'm warning you now. It is not going to be perfect. You also probably should not try that shit. If you're going to do sequences, keep them forward. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what you should not do first. And I'm probably going to fall. So your sequences. So the first kick is the closest kick to you, unless you want to add power. So if the first kick is this, boom. Your second kick, boom, boom. Okay? You probably shouldn't do that. You should probably just keep the front kicks. Boom, boom, boom. Because you don't take your foot off the ground more than enough times, but also you get to have your eyes on your enemy. If you kick him and it lands in his stomach, you can drive a knee to him, because you just seen me drive a knee. So from the side, if I kick him in the stomach, boom, now I can drive a knee. All right? Still use that knee. Now, smart money says after I kick him in the stomach and knee him, I need to get the fuck out of Dodge. Because only an idiot would stay there and fight somebody with their fucking hands tied behind their back. Now, if you are a contortionist, kiss my ass. because you can do that whole that thing and bring your hand over top of here and do all that special magic shit. I can't do it, so I'm jealous, so fuck you. But if you can do that, then you're okay. I am not a contortionist. I cannot do that shit. So I'm going to keep that shit real. Stomach, knee. It's the safest bet that I have. But again, I don't want to engage the son of a bitch unless I have to. So if I hit him in the stomach and he goes down, but he doesn't go out, then the knee is required. If I hit him in the stomach and he goes down, I'm out. Simply put, stomach and then out. Boom, I'm out. Safest bet you got is to kick them somewhere hurtful and then get the hell out. I would tell you to kick them in the nether regions, but most people nowadays are pretty protective of blocking their nether regions, because you can block your nether regions like so. Boom, boom. If you are a TIE fighter, you know that move. If you are an American kickboxer, you know that fucking move. If you know Wing Chun or Kung Fu, you also know that move, because you can also do it with the ball of your foot, where you can just stop, and then if you choose to block, kick, you have ways of returning that shit for a Wing Chun. Someone who's a Pak-Sao expert is going to come and correct me, I promise you, on the compliments. Someone's going to correct me, and that's fine. I don't have a problem being corrected. But understand, fighting with your hands tied behind your back is damn dangerous. 1 second. I gotta go make sure the dryer's going again. Sorry, I can do Kung Fu for hours. You have to understand, when your hands tied behind your back, you are in a fatal position. Your life is completely and totally in danger, and you cannot be messing around with people. So you need to take their asses out, and you need to take their asses out immediately. But you want to keep that shit simple. You don't want to try no fancy shit that I would probably do in the movies. You do not want to do butterfly kicks. You don't want to do tornado kicks. You don't want to do jumping spin kicks. Here's a jumping spin kick. See how weak that looked? Because this thing shifts my weight, and it holds my weight and center of gravity off. So when I jump and spin, everything is not going to work the way it's supposed to work, like it would if it was in the movie. Also, remember, in the movies, those guys are trained to receive these in case accidental connections happen. All right? So now let's go to the front. Front's a little bit more easier, less challenging, and a lot more safer. And again, I stress, please do not practice, do not train, and please do not try this shit at home. Now, front, you have more options. You have a fuck ton more options. And against all odds, dare I say, you have a better chance of survival when you have to engage. Same kick rules apply, especially if you're not a good fighter. If you're not a good fighter, don't stand there and try to engage somebody. Get the fuck out. So, but now you have blocking skills. So we're going to run through the blocks first, then I'll show the kicks. So first, high right, medium with knee, low right. High left with knee, low left. The reason why I did that and added the knee, because depending on what martial arts style you have to face, if someone's coming for a foot sweep, you're just going to lift your foot up. You know? Or you can step back. But you have blocking ability now. A block here, you have the ability to block. Your hands are still tied. You're not defenseless, and they're not behind you, which gives you a better shot of engaging. In case you're not a strong fighter, you'll still be able to engage enough that you can get the fuck out of dodge. Sorry for cussing. But if you're going to keep it real, I sometimes cuss way too much, so I'm sorry. But, you know, if guys coming at you with their left, he'll be at your right side. He's throwing a left. This is karate. So I pushed it, but I left myself open to his right hand. So we don't want to do that. If he's coming at you with the left, you want to get to the outside. This is Kung Fu. And he's throwing a straight left jab. You're going to be on this side of his body, here. Now, you can break his elbow by pushing the wrist and pulling the elbow, or pushing the elbow and pulling the wrist, depending on your positioning. And then from there, you can pull him into a knee. All right? But if you want to change it back to karate, when you pull him, you switch the knee. For Kung Fu, it's directness. For karate, it's power. I'm pretty sure Kung Fu people and karate people are going to come at me for that shit. But everything works in a system. Kempo is a combo of both power and direction. So depending on who teaches you what, you'll figure that shit out. But when your hands are tied, do you really think it matters if you're using Kung Fu or Karate? No. What matters is that your ass survives. That's what you're learning today. Understand? Now, you can block and throw, but you want to get to the outside. I teach it in a Kung Fu manner. I don't really teach it in a Karate manner because Karate is powerful, but Karate can be difficult. Now, sometimes when you're in the dog of the fight, sometimes when you're in the mix of the fight, you don't have time to worry about it anyway. So if he throws a right jab and I step to my left and I Kung Fu block and pull, I just threw my knee into him. So I Kung Fu blocked and I Karate kneed, okay? And if I Kung Fu blocked and I used my left knee, then it would have been Kung Fu, all right? Remember, block, boom, I turned it to Karate. Block, boom, I turned it to Kung Fu. Now let me explain that in slow motion. On the block for Karate, I wanted to get him to the outside for Kung Fu, and I used the Karate knee because I used the knee further away from my opponent, which gives me the power I need to hopefully bring that person down. So I shift, I blocked, I pushed, and I pulled my knee into his midsection or his sternum area. And if I'm short, I nailed him in the nether regions. My hands are still tied, he's bent over, so I'm going to wrap this thing around the back of his neck, and I'm going to hold it for dear life. Once he turns black or blue and he goes to sleep, I'm going to release him. And I'm going to get the fuck out of there. Because I don't want to be there anymore. I didn't want to be there in the first place. Obviously, he took me from somewhere if he tied up my hands. Unless I'm, like, getting attacked by, like, 20 women, you know, because then I'm not even going to put up a fight. But anyway, so for Kung Fu, when I throw the block and I pull, I'm going to push the knee that's closest to him. This is a direct shot to a kidney or a liver area or a rib. I'm short, so wherever the hell I nail you, that's where it's going to be. So you throwing a right jab, I got to the outside of his body, I blocked, I pulled him, I threw up a knee. As I pull him, I'm throwing the knee at the same time, boom. So that way it nails him. His momentum is what does the damage. It's not so much of my knee as how fast I pulled him. So I pulled him, so from the side, he's throwing a punch, he's right here. I stepped out, I caught his arm, I pull, and I threw up my knee. That knee is closest to him, so that makes it a Kung Fu move. Because Kung Fu is about directness, where Karate is about power. If I was to pull and shift my knee, I would have been doing Karate. Or we can classify that as American kickboxing or Thai fighting. Now, if I really was going to do Thai fighting, when I pull, instead of the knee going to the midsection, it would have been boom. So I would have jumped up and tried to knee him in the chin. I understand that a lot of Thai fighting knees are high. A lot of American kickboxing knees are mid-range to high. So it just depends on who's teaching you what. And every teacher that you will ever come across will teach you a modified version of what the fuck they were taught. And when you teach someone, you will teach them a modified version of what you were taught. Because what works for you isn't always going to work for your student. I understand how that shit works. So he's coming, and I want to do an outside to inside crescent kick because I want to escape. I do not want to engage. So he's coming, boom. I set him in that direction, I'm over in this direction. I'm out. I do not have to engage. Now, if he's coming and I do an inside to outside crescent, I'm probably going to wind up engaging with this jackass. So if he's coming at me and I stand ready, bam. Now, my door's over here. I got to go through him to get to my door. You see why I say you don't want to engage? What if that only pissed him off? What if it didn't stop him? What if it didn't knock him out? Those are the questions you have to ask. Because the what if it did, you won't have to ask the question. Because if it knocks him out, you're just going to go. It's just like a no winner there. You know, he's done. But if it doesn't knock him out, now you have to engage. So he's throwing punches, block, block. Your blocks, you have to learn how to work both hands as one. So block, 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 block. You want to do snake? It's going to be a little bit difficult. You want to do Wing Chun chain punches? It's going to be a little difficult, but it can be done. But you're going to have to learn how to use this rope as your weapon. It's just that simple. You're going to have to learn how to do that. And if you can't do that, you're screwed. Which is also why I said if you're not a strong fighter, and he's right here, your door's right here, he's coming. You do not want to do the inside to outside crescent kick because that puts him back in the way of your door. You want to do the outside to inside crescent kick because because that puts him in the direction that you don't want to go. It also allows you to be here in case you have to engage. It also gives you an open track to get the hell out of Dodge. Hope I made myself clear with that. And it works on both sides. I'm just using my left side right now because my right hip hurts like shit. But again, sequences. You want to keep that shit basic. This is what you're not going to do. Boom. See how I almost lost my balance and my hip buckled. So you don't want to do that. You want to keep that shit basic. Boom. 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 You want to keep that shit as close to where you can see your opponent as possible. Because the second that you do this, he might have you if you miss that first kick. So if you miss this, and you're down, you probably want to throw this instead of doing a complete turnaround kick. So this, it's possible. I don't recommend it. I recommend more of this. Boom, you're down, step, boom. Because that's going to work a little bit more effective because you're still at the position where if he's not hurt, you can still be ready to engage versus when you do this sequence, you miss that spinning back kick where he ducks it. Johnny Cage has gained a level.
And you're going to be talking like this for the rest of your natural life if you don't die.
Sorry, couldn't resist that. So you want to keep your sequences basics, you know. Say you just want the front kick sequence. So start with a round. Boom. So you're here. Boom. Boom. And that way that keeps you safe also because you still get to see your opponent. And that way you don't get your shit kicked. Right? Remember your blocks. High right, medium with knee, low. High left, medium with knee, low. You need to understand how those work. And if you're going to go with any kind of animal style, or your hands tied, don't. This is tiger, this is dragon, this is the snake, this is the crane. You see the limitations? This is the mantis. You're going to have some problems with that. So all you know is animal styles, level up. Period. Level up. Because this restricts your tiger. It also restricts your dragon. So you don't want to do that. You want to just stick with straight up regular ass martial arts. You want to do drunken masters with your hands tied? It is possible. You know, get your sway, your butterfly strike, your block, your strike. But it's still going to take a lot of work. So don't bother with animal styles. Bother with drunken master as long as you can use your feet. But at the same time, you want to kind of stick with basics. You don't want to be doing all the fancy smancy shit because you're going to hurt. It's going to hurt when you mess up and get hit. I hope that I taught you something. For the love of God, first and foremost, I hope I taught you, please do not attempt this stuff. So now we're going to incorporate weapons. Not with your hands tied. That's like a whole other level of I can't let you see that or somebody's going to get hurt. Sorry, I'm behind on the wave. All right, so these are commas. They're practice commas. They're wood. No one's going to get hurt because there's no one here to hurt. But in the right hands, a practice comma is just as deadly as the real McCoy. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise or they don't know shit about martial arts. Anything that you can practice with is just as dangerous as the real thing. Anybody who doesn't believe that, they really don't know that much about martial arts. They know enough, but they don't know truth. All right? That shit hurts. If somebody's swinging a piece of wood, see it? See how thick that shit is? If I come across you like that, see how solid that shit sounds? So for all medicinal purposes, a wooden comma is just as deadly as a steel one. The only difference is this bitch can't cut you unless you hit him in the right angle. So, for your commas, block, strike, strike, block, strike, strike. 9 times out of 10, after you block and you strike, if you're using real commas, they're blades, so you're probably not going to be able to snatch that bitch back out and strike, strike. All right? However, you probably won't have to. Commas are also coarse quarter combat. All right? So it's just like knife fighting. Only difference is you have a longer handle, you know, and a longer blade. So, boom, 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 boom. That's pretty much it. Here's your dome. you see it? Let's try it again. Boom, boom. Usually I drop it when I do that. So you don't do that. If you want to fight like one up and one down, like that, you don't have to get there like that because that's going to cut your shit. So when you come into battle, come in already. You know, gash, gash. You know, block, gash, gash again. Again, now you know why you don't do that. That was me trying to show off, and in showing off, I almost embarrassed myself. But by telling you not to do that, that means you're not going to do that because you just saw what happened. Again, that's why you don't release your weapons. Now, you may look at me and say, hey, James, that's messed up. And as you see, I just completed that one. Here. You see how they landed? This one would have cut off my hand. This one, not so much. Commas are sharp, and they are deadly. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to hurt yourself. Commas are definitely for close quarter combat. They are not scissors, and they are dangerous. These, you're good, because you're just practicing. So you're going to practice 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and you're going to go, not that, but you're going to get them in this position. So from this position, from here, just do that, and then just like roll. Instead of trying to do this fancy bullshit that's going to get your arm cut off. Let's try fancy one more time. See how that works. This way, not so safe either, but it's a lot safer than trying to do that. Because the combo blade is sharp, and it will tear your ass to pieces. So you're going to go fighting this way. That's a block, and then you can strike. Or you can block, and then you can strike. Or, like I said, fight one this way, one that way. Block, strike, strike. Block, strike. You'll figure it out once you learn how to use the damn things. So, now again, once these things hit, and they cut through armor or whatever the hell that person's wearing, they're pretty much done. I'm not going to kid you. These bitches are basically one shot, one kill. I don't know if they can cut through bone. These ones can't because they're wooden. But I know they can cut through flesh. So if you're messing with real commas, you are playing with your fate. You're playing with someone's life. So be careful. And again, this, unacceptable. So you just want to just change it. No, from here. Or when you go into a fight, just go in there like this. Or like this. Or one and the other. And you can whirl it this way and then this way. But I'm going to be honest, you want your blades as far away from you as possible. You know, arm's distance is a must. So slice, 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 slice. Most combos are double bladed on the top. At least some of them, depending on which ones you buy. But you know, you want to be able to do this without doing that. That was movie stuff. Real combos, they should never roll off your hands for any means necessary, unless they have the ropes where they're attached, so you can whirl them and shit like that. Go watch Jim Carter for that reference. There's a Japanese guy, he might be Chinese, let's be politically correct. He's an Asian dude who teaches Kurt Thomas how to use them. The movie is Jim Carter. Let me spell that for you. G-Y-M, Jim, Kata, K-A-T-A. It's like 1984 or something. But go watch it. He also has the tree technique in it, so you guys can learn that from there too. But for commas, remember that they're close quarters. You don't want to do that. Or that, because they'll gash your arms out. And that'll happen too. So now we're going to turn these commas into tonfas. And tonfas are the police batons of old. And you're going to learn your blocks before you learn your strikes. So block, 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 block. And if you do kickboxing, block, block. Same thing for Thai fighting, block. Just in case you didn't know, you can incorporate a tonfa in any martial art. And if you can't, someone's missed the class. All right? Now, I'm not sure about Kali because I've never taken Kali. But if someone who does Kali could confirm or deny that you can use tonfas in Kali, let me know. But for Kempo and regular Kung Fu or regular Karate, depending on what section of Karate or Kung Fu you are doing, you can use the tonfas. All right? I'm going to actually buy me a pair of tonfas after I pay this bill that just came up today. So, jab, strike. block, strike. Block, strike. Block, strike. Block, strike. Now, my strikes, I don't like inside to outside. I don't like those. I prefer outside, from the outside. Always outside, never from the inside. I don't like those because those are in danger of hitting yourself and breaking some shit. So you don't want to do that. Because you don't get full extension, you're going to be hurt. But here with full extension, the only time I would ever really suggest that this happens is reflective, and it's your only option. Alright? Which means the target is right there, and instead of right there where he's right here, it is closer to do that, but it's more powerful to do that because you get more momentum with that swing. But you may not have the time if he's attacking you with a certain instrument, so you need to block, or you need to block this way, and your block can become a strike, and then you can strike again. Understand? So boom, boom. That works a lot better for me than boom, boom. Alright? Did you see the difference? So when I blocked here, and I brought this out, I barely had to lift my arm. When I blocked here, and I brought it this way, I had to lift my arm a little bit more. Boom. Okay? Boom. And I also had to lift it a little bit more so that I don't hit my rib. Because if you hit yourself in the rib, you're going to give the fight up. If you've never been hit in the ribs, I'm going to tell you firsthand, getting hit in the ribs suck. Alright? Regardless of how tough you are, getting hit in the rib fucking sucks. And you got a whole lot of goddamn ribs. So getting hit in either one of them suck. But you got to learn what works for you. If these strikes work better for you, stick with those strikes. I'm not going to tell you what strike worked better for you because only you're going to know that. These work better for me. Boom, boom. You understand? So I can block it, I can strike it, I can add a kick to that shit. So I can boom, boom, boom. Now let me do that facing you. Boom, 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 boom. And I can put that back around. I had too much closeness. I was miscalculating. So jab, strike, kick, strike, and strike. And this was already out. So you'll figure out what works for you when it comes to tonfas. Now, even though these are practice commas and I'm using them as tonfas, the skill is still there for the tonfa versus the comma. Jab and strike, block, strike, from the inside, block, strike from the outside. You will figure out what works for you at the time that you are training. You will find your comfort zone. That's mine. Full extension, I come back. Full extension, and I come back. Now I can full extension and strike, but it's more than likely my tonfa will hit you before my fist does because of the range. Try it again. Understand how that works? I'm using the tonfa. Okay? So if my fist hits you first, I'm good. Boom. Then I can come down. Because if I hit you with my fist, there's also a bump at the end of the tonfa. So that's going to also put you in a position of me taking you out. So if I jab you and it hits you in the face and you go this way, crack, I'm going to go ahead and finish you off. Tonfas are also close quarter combat weapons. So in case nobody has told you, since the police were trained with tonfas or batons, part of their training is to learn how to swing this bitch out and swing it from this angle and swing it from that angle, which is great unless they're coming against somebody who also knows tonfa training. You also understand that tonfas have very few weak points. Generally, it's the handle, because the handle is what swings. The handle provides the momentum. So if someone swings a tonfa and you don't have one to do this, then you need to catch them in mid-swing. So which means if they're swinging this way, you need to catch them before it leaves. When they throw their arm and they're going to swing this bitch, you need to catch them before they leave. So you want to lock them up. So you want to grab the tonfa so that they can't. And you want to push it back into them. And you want to try to lower down. So you want to get the backside of the tonfa into their ribs. Because if you don't, somebody's going to sleep. It's not going to be me. Now, the thing about a tonfa, though, when you're fighting someone with tonfas, you understand these bitches are going to hurt. I shit you not, they are going to hurt. No one is invincible. Even if you've studied kickboxing and you know the iron body technique, where you take a beating until you feel no pain, Iron body is more mental than physical, but at some point in time, your tolerance will give. So you need to have your shit straight before your tolerance give. You know how much pain you can take if you've been in a fight. If you don't know how much pain you can take, you will learn firsthand once you get into a fight. Oh, I'm pretty sure no martial artist told you that. Congratulations, I just told you the truth. Think about getting hit with a tonfa, you're gonna fucking know it. So you're gonna need to know how to stop it. And if you both got tonfas and you're clack, 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 and somebody gets in that lucky swing, whoever gets hit, you're going down. It also depends on where they hit you. So if they hit you here and you can absorb that blow, you may only absorb one or two of those damn things before that shit goes down. Adrenaline is also a powerful thing. But adrenaline ain't got shit on a clean knockout. So let's say I go boom and I hit you in the gut and then I come back with the same tonfa. It's boom, I pull it back and then I come back. So that's a hit here, I'm down, and then it's right back. So let's say I hit you in the neck and I break your fucking neck. Or let's say I hit you in this entire jawline and I fracture everything, including your orbital bone or your orbital eye socket, whatever the fuck the shit's called. You are going to sleep. Because if you take out the head, the body shall fall. But if you take out the body, the head will fall too. So let's say I do a thrust. Boom. So I just double thrusted you with my tonfas in here with the long end, not the short end. If I'm doing the short end, I'm just going to be like that. But I'm going to need to be prepared because if I'm doing this and you're up here, you're probably going to tag me when I'm tagging you. All right? Because I am completely vulnerable to a strike. If you're like this and I come in here, I just gave you my face. I'm hitting you in the sternum as a sacrifice. I gave you my face. So you don't want to do that. You might want to do this. Boom. This way you can hit them and protect yourself from at least one blow. Don't forget, everybody has 2 arms and 2 legs. So if they're well aware of what's happening at the time it is happening, you're going to have a fight on your hands. Any martial artist that does not agree with that, stop teaching martial arts. Just like a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, I was watching it on Instagram. I think it was Instagram because TikTok has a thing about violence. Even for training purposes, I don't think TikTok allows a lot of stuff. There was a young man who was of color. It was a young black man and a young Asian man. And the young black man was over here. The young Asian guy was over here. He was trying to teach you how to engage someone with the weapon known as a firearm. I have one suggestion. If they have a firearm and you do not, throw them your wallet and walk the fuck away. You can get that money back another day. You can't get your life back. Give them what they want. Hearing that from a martial artist should make you secure to know there's a time to fight and there's a time not to fight. Okay? If you do not have fighting skills, do not take a chance with your life and try to engage someone who has a rifle. I'm a veteran of the United States Armed Forces, and I will still tell you the same shit. They got a gun and you don't. They win the day. They win the day. Give them all of your shit. Give them your wallet. Give them your motherfucking shoes if you have to. But you'll have your life. You can fill out the police report. I understand that shit. I'm not trying to sound like a pussy. I'm just telling you because you're going to die. Now, the black man told the kid to point the gun. I'm the black guy right now. So, the gun is right here at the black guy. Now, anytime that the gun's been pointed at your face, if you've never had this happen, all you see is the gun. I've had this happen at least once or twice. And yes, that is a confession. So, I will tell you right now, that dude told you to go this way and push the gun. Okay, that's highly feasible. There's just one problem. He has a left hand. Okay? This is that part where you really want to do a kung fu move versus a karate move. Because you want to get to the outside of him to make sure that his weapon is away from you. Not to where he can twitch the wrist and still shoot you. Because that's stupid. Plus, he has a free hand. Now, the Asian guy, he had the gun right here, but he had a free hand that you can't see on camera. Now, when they changed the angle a little bit, you can still see his hand. It was down here. It was closed, but that's still a clenched fist. So if you take my gun and you go this way, I'm going to hit you with my open hand or my closed hand or whatever the hell that's free. I'm not just going to let you struggle with that gun and be focused on you taking that gun from me because I have another hand. The hand that you didn't see. Boom, boom, boom. I'm keeping my gun. This guy did that demonstration and he should not have ever posted that shit. And I'm sorry if he's watching, you fucked up. You literally fucked up and you have sent some people to their death. Again, Do not attempt to see the shit in the movies and play that shit out. You are not John Wick. You are not Jason Bourne. Do not attempt that shit. Someone pulls a gun on you, give them their shit. That's right, I said their shit. It's their shit now. Give them their shit. Because they're going to be scared and they're going to shoot you. Accept that shit. Because if you don't, you will be accepting a bullet. You won't have a choice. You make the wrong move at the right time with a twitchy finger fucker and you're going to get shot. And he's trying to teach you that you're going to block this bitch and pull this guy. That's fine. If you'd have been standing on the outside of him, I would have completely agreed with that shit. But I don't agree with it because he was standing on the inside. He pulled the gun this way. This guy still has a free hand right here. No one in their right mind is going to be worrying about you taking that gun, but they can still be beating you in the face. Notice I said no one in their right mind. And because it was a demonstration, you know, it's a very feasible demonstration, but from my point of view, as a person who has had a gun pointed to his face at 14 years old, all I saw was the gun, and had my father not put a gun on the other guy, I would not be here today. Over a girl. So yeah, she was 14, I was 14, he was 23. So that should tell you right there, gunplay is not something that you should ever play with. Now, having a gun pointed to my head with a BMX, I had no choice in hell. I was a dead man, or a dead boy. He was a grown-ass man, and he was sleeping with my 14-year-old girlfriend. I didn't know that he was actually her boyfriend before I got into the picture. But I learned. I learned down the barrel of a fucking gun. So again, when someone has a gun at you, it doesn't matter how good you think you are with martial arts. You better play the game. You better give them their shit. Because they will give you a bullet if you don't. Hell, they might give you a bullet if you do. But you need to know that. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. There's a high fucking chance that either way you're going to get shot. And you need to know that. Any martial artists that disagree with me, you watch too much TV, you read too many comic books. And I'm not saying that because I watch a lot of TV and I read the fuck out of comic books before they're very cunning. But truth be told, I got a gun on you. Most people are taught to hold their gun this way. Most people try to jack you. They try to go sideways because they want to look cool because they've seen that shit on TV. In the demonstration, the little Asian guy had the gun in the proper position, but he didn't have his hand here. 9 times out of 10, you know that the gun has kick if both their hands are on the gun. If their gun does not have kick, they probably just got this. But most people aren't trying to shoot you when they like this. Unless they have been raised around the gun and know every ounce of every gun that's ever come off the manufacturing assembly line. I'm going to tell you one more time. If someone has a gun to you, give them their shit. Do not try to fight them. They have a gun. They have a knife on you. I'm going to be honest. And I was trained how to fight against a knife before I even got into the military. Do not engage, because you're going to get cut if you do. But if you just give them the shit, it's 9 times out of 10 they're going to walk. I will properly do what you should do. This is my wallet. You have a gun. You want the wallet? There you go. He's probably going to think, oh, you're a smart ass. And I threw it at your feet. I would tell you to throw it at his head, but he may have a tricky chicken finger. And then he's going to shoot you. But I can always just do this. Just give him the wallet. It's going to save your life. It's going to save my life. It's also going to make sure that he walks away. If he walks away and he didn't shoot you, you've just been blessed. You'll probably piss on yourself. You'll probably shit on yourself. But you will be alive. Now, I'll tell you another time that someone held a gun on me. And that person was my cousin. And he was a badass. So I was the victim of a very bad prank. And then I'm going to end the live. I was the victim of a very, very bad prank. So my brother and 2 of my other cousins decided to set off a cherry bomb while my other cousin pulled the gun out on me. And it was a real fucking gun. Let's not kid around. It was a real fucking gun. And this was my youngest brother, not my brothers that my dad had, but, you know, my actual brother from my mom. And they're playing this fucking prank on me. It's not the prank that you play on somebody who likes to fight. So my cousin, I'm leaving names off for a reason. I like to protect privacy. Pulls the gun out on me, talking mad shit. My leg is twitching. I'm a little scared, but I ain't scared of death. I'm scared of what's about to go down. And I'm going to have to kill this motherfucker. Now, everything I just told you of what not to do, I was planning on doing the opposite. But there was a reason for that. I didn't give a fuck if I lived or died. but I wasn't going by myself. So the cherry bomb went off, and I thought I got shot. My legs stopped shaking. I did not shit on myself, but it felt like I had to. I did not piss on myself, but it felt like I had to. I'm still a little shaken. But now I'm pissed because I'm not dead and that gun was at my chest. I'm feeling for an entry wound. Adrenaline is pumping. And now I'm fixing to fuck him up. You got me at point blank range and you missed. It's the last thing that came out my mouth before I drew my fist up to hit him. My brother, our cousins come running around. It's a joke, it's a joke. Mind you, we just buried our cousin because he got shot. There are things that you don't do. You do not play games with people who like to fight. You do not threaten people who like to fight because the outcome is not going to be good for you. If I haven't taught you anything in this whole time that you've been on here, learn from that. If someone pulls a gun out on you, give them their shit. Do not try to be He-Man. Do not try to be me. I was stupid. I also suffer from very bad bouts of depression. So I really didn't give a fuck if I lived or died at that point in that time. I was single. I was angry. My family hates me and I hated them. Not much of that has changed. But I will tell you, I found my worth when I got into the Army. Right? See, before I got in the Army, I got trained by a Green Beret when I was 16. I learned how to die by being trained by this guy. I also learned how to kill people severely with a spoon and a fork and an ink pen and a little lid inside those little pens. I've learned how to totally fuck somebody's shit up. Alright? But when it gets down to it, you don't know what the fuck you're going to do when that shit's drawn on you. When I was 14, I knew I was going to die. I didn't have no clue that my father even owned a gun until that day. When I was older, and we had just buried my cousin, and his nephew did this shit to me, I knew I was going to die. But I also knew I wasn't going by my motherfucking self because I didn't give a fuck about myself. Do not do that. Give a fuck about yourself so that you can live to see another day. Understand that shit. Know that, yeah, you didn't bitch out. You're not a punk. You're not a pussy because you gave them your shit. You're a survivor. That's what you are. Remember that. Ain't no money in the world worth your life. Period. Ain't nothing worth you throwing your life away when someone has a gun to you. With maybe one or two exceptions. If someone has a gun to you and your wife is right there and they're trying to sexually assault your wife, this is where I bite my words. You may have to go for it. Or if it's your daughter and they may be trying to sexually assault your daughter, well, they're going to have to kill me. And I hope that buys her enough time to get the hell out. I would hope that she would be smart enough to run. But unfortunately for me, I don't have kids. But I will let you know one thing for sure. Nothing is worth losing your life over. Not one item of clothing, not one dime in your fucking pocket is worth you losing your life over. Give them their shit. Thank you for watching. I'm Echo Fan Grey Wolf. This is Kung Fu Havoc number 2. And this is also Instagram. I gotta go fold some stuff now, y'all. So, thank you for being here. Well, this wave doesn't work. One wave worked. Oh, for the love of God. Oh, damn. Also still recording. Okay, hold on.